Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to another Daybreak reaction video. So, a couple of things. One, we started, we are once again delayed. I was not able to actually record the video yesterday, so we're actually going to be reacting to 2 reveals today, technically 3, because as you see right here, we are on Twitch. We are not on YouTube. That's because in the first Frostfall tournament that we had, at the very end of the tournament, A-Drive revealed Reverse Stellar Rare Exaltus. So, this is sick. This card is absolutely awesome, and I really hope to actually pull one. This is a really, really cool card. But that's it. We're going to get straight into both reveal videos. The one that was uploaded June 24th and the one that was uploaded June 25th. We will be doing both in this video. All right, so I can already tell from the title, it's the most explosive new card, introducing Vesuvituga. That is obviously a Nexus form of Krakatuga, so let's see what this is like.
Today's reveal for Daybreak is explosive as we count down 25 days until Daybreak pre-orders open on July 12th. Let's get it.
Let's go. All right. So Krakatuga, one of my favorite cards. Excited to see a Nexus form of it.
Eruption and Krakatuga, but what if we took that idea and took it to another level and mixed it up with a little bit of Earth?
Ooh, we got some Earth. All right. Now, I will actually say this. I have somewhat seen this card. I have seen a picture, a slightly blurry picture of the art in someone's thumbnail. And that's all I've seen of it. So I've seen, and to be totally honest, I don't even really remember what it looks like, but that's it. That's all I've seen. So I haven't really been spoiled a whole lot. Let's see what this is.
Using eruption decks, today is your day. First up, we've got Boltuga.
Boltuga, let's go. All right.
Smalltuga, a 3-attacker with 4 defense, with an epic effect that says when you normal cast this Boltuga, you can expend an Earth Spirit in order to search your deck and or Underworld for an eruption and add it to your hand. Yes, eruption
like
is
that.
Searchable
eruption. We love that. And then another thing to note, Boltuga is also searchable off of Rummagem. So you are getting to eruption fast.
Hype with this one. And
that's awesome.
Grab it out of your Underworld, man. This is gonna be crazy. Pair this with Pandison. You've got some really cool options to get those Invoke runes back. I'm very excited about Boltuga for eruption.
I kind of disagree. I honestly do not think that. What's it called? Pandison's gonna be played. I think just once you use an eruption, the game's pretty much over. I don't really think you need Pandison. You're already cutting. The deck already is like there's not that much space in the deck already. So the fact that you're now putting in new Earth cards, you're probably going to be playing Rummagem just to search this card, just so that like it's almost guaranteed you're going to get to an eruption. The issue is now getting the Krakatuga. You need to get to Krakatuga, and you need an easier way to get Krakatuga onto the field in order to actually make some really good plays. So we'll see if that actually happens. Let's see. Vesuvituga, let's go. Earth Fire. First of all, sick looking card. And I also love how it still fires, so you don't have to play double Earth. Well, let's see.
You can expend a Fire Spirit to force an opponent to expend 2 spirits. Huge burn
damage
there
bad,
every turn on a massive defensive body. Earth Fire.
Pretty good.
When a player casts Eruption, you can return up to 2 Earth Spirits from your Underworld to your Spirit deck.
Okay.
The opportunity to heal yourself while you're playing this burn card as you're whittling down your opponent makes Vesuvituga absolutely massive when it comes to this Earth Fire burn deck.
I'm not too convinced by this card. I really like Boltuga. Boltuga's obviously going to be played in Krakatuga decks, just the way the search eruption is crazy. What I have already forgotten. What? How's it? Vesuvituga? Hang on.
Defensive
Where is it? Vesuvituga. I'm not too convinced in this card. For one reason. It's not terrible. But the second effect specifies Earth Spirit. If that said any spirits, this would be this would be played. I'm not a huge fan of it being Earth Spirit. Granted, if you're playing, you don't have to play this in Krakatuga. This is sort of just the same type of build of Krakatuga with a little bit of like, it's a somewhat different play style than Krakatuga. You're probably playing this in its own deck. You're probably not playing this in Krakatuga. So we're basically now going to have a Vasuvatuga deck and a Krakatuga deck, and both of them are going to be kind of interesting. And if imagine that in like a finals of a match, a Krakatuga versus Vasuvatuga, that would be insane because both of them, both of those cards activate on either player's eruption cast. But for the most part, just because it says to Earth in Krakatuga decks, is not going to be very good because you don't really need Earth outside of now, like, Boltuga and maybe Rummagem. Like, you're probably only going to be playing 4 Earth. Maybe a little bit more if you want to play, like, EQ and stuff. But you're already... The Spirit deck is already very tight in Krakatuga builds. But we'll see. We'll see. I have been proven wrong in the past about some of these cards. So let's see.
While you're playing this massive when it comes
let's see what we got though. There's still a lot now.
Can't wait to see what
so
you
let's
guys
see.
hook up with Eruption in Daybreak. Now listen, I'm not done there. If you guys remember when base set launched, we had a new Elestral called
that's kind of funny. Top right, we got an annotation of the video we're watching after this. That's kind of funny. But let's see.
Barabog. This is a super cool.
Wait, I missed that.
When base set launched, we had a new Elestral called Barabog. This is a super cool Elestral with 3 attack and 7 defense with a little bit of a burn effect itself.
Also, it's pronounced Barabog. I've been pronouncing it Barabog this entire time.
Opponent casts a card without Earth or Water.
All right.
You have to expend a Spirit. This card was made in honor of my friend Dan TDM.
Yeah.
Got little green diamonds on his feet, and we brought him back here in Daybreak.
I actually knew about that. That's funny.
Why did you bring back Barabog, and why was it the only Elestral that was a 2-cost with no pre-ascension? It's because Barabib wasn't ready yet. We've got Barabib.
Oh, that's funny. Barabib. All right, let's see what this says. Okay, I haven't read the first line. I read the second line somehow. This effect can be activated up to 4 times per turn. I'm not gonna read it right now. I'm gonna let Dan do the reading for me. Let's see.
When you cast an
I hit my mic.
with an Earth Spirit, your opponent must expend a Spirit. This effect can be activated up to 4 times in a turn. Do you guys understand what this card can do? You can.
What exactly are you? What invoke rooms can you use? EQ, obviously, which is not bad. If you have Barabib out and you cast EQ, you pop a card and you burn your opponent for 1. What else is there? I guess Cornucopia. Maybe this would be played in fruit decks. It's interesting. And actually, to be entirely honest, this is not bad in fruit decks. A lot of the time in fruit decks, when you are going through and casting all your ambrosias, you are constantly hitting new ambrosias. At least the way I've been playing it, I always play a little bit passive with a bunch of counter runes, and then out of nowhere I cast that much Ataya and start spamming those ambrosias. And a lot of the times when you are drawing 2-3 cards every single ambrosia cast, you are hitting another ambrosia off those draws. So during that, you could very easily with Barabib but if you have Barabib out in the field while you're going for all those draw plays, you could potentially burn your opponent for like 2 or 3. Chances of you activating it 4 times in a turn, maybe not too much. Maybe not too much. We'll see. Obviously, I think the idea here is EQ, but I'm really trying to think. EQ, and Cornucopia, I believe. Oh, wait a minute. What am I freaking talking about? When you cast an Invoke Rune with Earth, I'm thinking if you cast an Earth Invoke Rune. No, it can be... What am I talking? You can just use Ambrosia, normal Ambrosia, cast it with an Earth, and you burn your opponent for 1. What on earth am I talking about? I don't... Let's see. What's he saying?
A rune They have to expend, and you can do that 4 times in a turn. You pair this with like Ambrosia and Drataya and forget about it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
You can
Mudslide, we have a new one.
To Barabog from your hand or deck. That's
so we have a Barabog ascension. We have a way to ascend into Barabog. I will say I don't think it's going to be, that's not going to see play. Also, I think, this it has 3 sentences with 2 effects. I was like, this is the first card with 3 effects. Is there a card so far in the game that has 3 effects? I don't think so, because of the 5-line rule that he set for himself. But when he casts Mudslide, I don't think Barabog's going to be seeing play, but this could.
For the bib and the bog here,
this could potentially see play. But let's see Mudslide.
Is a brand new Invoke rune that is Earth and Water. An opponent must disenchant a spirit from each
That's
of their
interesting.
runes. Then you may enchant an Earth or a Water spirit to your field. This is super cool. First of all, Water has some really cool ways to benefit from this with Dratagwa, and of course, when you look at Earth, and
that's interesting. I will say I don't think this is a super amazing card. My question, actually, a couple of questions with this I have. Does your opponent have to have face-up runes on their side of the field that they can disenchant spirits from in order for you to play this card? Or can you just play it and nothing happens and you just get the second effects? That's interesting. I'm not entirely certain about that one. However, I don't think this is a very good card, even if it does work that way. Well, no, enchanting, if it does work that way, this card is probably going to see some amount of play. I don't think it's going to be seeing too much play. But I could see some decks maybe tacking it in. But I don't think the first effect is very good. I mean, realistically, all that's going to hit is Divine Runes, maybe a Stadium Room here and there to just deal with that. It technically deals with Stadium Runes unless you're playing a Nexus deck like Frigica Beatdown. That focuses on basically using the Stadium as your Nexus bank. If that's the case, then no, this will not be. This card is not very good. But it has some amount of potential, and it is a way to get into Barabog. But I just don't think it's going to be super amazing. But again, we will see.
Brand new Mudlet we revealed. You've got Clovey for some drawing. I think there's some really cool potential here. But Mudslide provides a way to force disenchants on your opponents. So if they're running stadiums, artifacts, or if they're
Alright, I apologize. I really need to use the bathroom. I will be back. Alright, so looking at the rest of the video, there was realistically nothing. There is a new art of Barabog, which, to be fair, I kind of expected. Let's be fair. That was kind of expected. I don't expect this strategy to be good at all. I don't expect Barabog to be a very good strategy in the slightest. I just don't think Barabog is good enough to actually see play. Barabib, maybe. But there is a little bit of we need to see an action first in order to actually get a good understanding as to how good it is. We need to test it, is basically what I'm trying to say. However, just real quick looking at this, because I want to get on to the second video, this is going to be relatively fast. Boltuga, very, very good card for both Krakatuga and Vesuvatuga. It's crazy. It just searches an eruption it's basically just a 2-cost. Essentially, it's a 1-cost Celestial, but it costs you 2 in order to get the eruption. I'm a little shocked though they went with a expend rather than you can disenchant one, but it is what it is. Whatever. I honestly don't really care. Maybe they probably just didn't want you to be able to do it that many times. So when you normal cast it, expend out Earth and search for an eruption. Very, very good. I've already talked about Vesuvatuga. I don't think this card is very good. I especially do not think that this is a card that will be played inside Krakatuga specifically. Just because that is Krakatuga is not you do not need to get Earth Spirits back for Krakatuga. You would rather, if this said get 2 Fire Spirits, it would probably see play in Krakatuga. But the fact that it says Earth Spirits, you're not vying for that. This is supposed to be a part of its own strategy. I understand it, but we'll see how it works. And this is basically the only kind of issue I have with this. The reason Krakatuga was really, really good is because it provided a ton of pressure. It forced your opponent to expend 3. And then also when you cast Eruption, you pop the card. It applied a ton of pressure. Vesuvatuga doesn't apply that pressure. It does help. This is a healing strategy, whereas Krakatuga is more so a burn strategy. So if that effect was something different, I might consider this in Krakatuga builds, and I might consider Vesuvatuga to be a good deck, but I'm not expecting anything from this strategy. And obviously a little bit later down the line, we got the Barabog stuff. We got the Barabib stuff. Again, requires a bit more testing. And then the Mudslide, which I do not expect to see play. I don't expect Barabog to see any play. Barabib might seem play, but no one's playing Barabog in order to ascend into it, I'm assuming, because it's just not very good. Barabog, not a very good card, all things considered. It has some potential, but I just don't think Barabog is going to be seeing any play. So, for the most part, a lot of these cards aren't very good in my opinion, but do require a bit of testing. Barabib is the one card that has the most potential, I would say. But with that, let's get into the second reveal. Celestaleo takes the TCG world by storm. So, I assume solar reveal of Leonite. Yeah, Leonite. Solar Nexus form of Leonite is what I'm assuming.
Today, we reveal one of the most powerful Elestrals of all time, and one that has been sitting right in front of your noses for months and months. It's time to tell y'all about Celestaleo.
Celestaleo?
If you haven't been keeping up, we're revealing...
What the frick? That was kind of scary, I'll be honest.
New cards every...
Oh! Another thing I want to point out. It's not here on screen, but I did get reminded of this. The card that is basically a hand trap now. You discard it when your opponent would discard a card from your hand. I forget its name. I really wish it was actually here on screen. That card is going to be insane come Daybreak. Because we just saw in the top cut of the latest tournament, 3 players were playing Thunder Nexus, and the finals was Thunder Nexus versus Thunder Nexus. So I talked about it. If Thunder Nexus proves to be the best deck of Frostfall, that card will see a ton of play in basically everybody's deck, especially everybody's side deck. Be prepared for Thunder Nexus to maybe be cast down the drain after a little bit. Well, maybe not so much because they do still have access to a Strabit, but you will not be seeing Spark It nearly as much come Daybreak. So just remember that, because Thunder Nexus is currently like the best deck in the format. So we'll see.
Every single day until Daybreak pre-orders open on July 12th. Let's get it.
Also, I'm noticing, just off of this, I'm noticing with a lot of these cards, I'm basically being like, these cards could be good. They have a lot of potential to be good, but I basically, a lot of these cards, I've basically just been like, these cards have potential to be good. I kind of apologize for that. I've just basically been saying that time and time again. I will say this right now. I am just taking these cards at face value. My card evaluation skills are not very good. So I've been wrong multiple times. I said in my Frostfall, it is Frostfall good video, I thought Flammoth was going to be one of the best decks in the format, and it's not seeing any play. Not even close to seeing any play. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And I also was saying I don't think Morfrost is going to be very good. That just topped a tournament. So yeah, you know, there's my card evaluation skills are not very good. Just keep that in mind as we're watching these videos.
Single day until Daybreak pre-orders open on July 12th. Let's get it. First up,
all right, let's go.
Nebuleo, a brand new solar
Nebuleo.
with 2 attack and 1 defense.
We got a Kinleo Nexus form. Let's see.
That is a
Let's see what it is.
Nexus form
2/1 solar.
This Nebuleo gets +1 attack for each enchanting solar on the field. That means this thing can get really big really fast. Just simply by itself, it's a 3 attacker, and then you add an Apollo with 4 spirits onto it. You've got a 7 attack.
That I was about to say, yeah, that could be insane. That could be kind of crazy. Because currently the big beater of Frostfall is Cryovern. The issue with Cryovern, though, is that you have to set it up. The setup is not like too bad. You just have to get 5 Frost Spirits in your Underworld, normal cast a Cryoling, and you have yourself a 7 beater on your side of the field. This seems to me like an easier setup. And if you pair that with Mountains of Boreas, not mountains, but what am I freaking talking about? What's the Stadium Room? I've forgotten. I feel so bad. I have completely forgotten like all the cards from previous days and what they do. What am I saying Mountains of Boreas for? I'm crazy. The Stadium Room, the plus your solar Elestrals get +1/+1 for each solar spirit enchanting them. If you pair it with that alone buffs it up to a 4 attacker just by buffs up to a 5 attacker. So if you just go what the fuck's your name? Nebuleo plus the Stadium Room, it's a 5 attacker just immediately. Unbelievable. This card already very good beater for the deck.
That 1-drop, this thing is bonkers. You can foretell 4.
Foretell 4, okay.
Any number of Nebuleo, Leo Bright, Celestleo, and or First Light foretold this way to your hand. Foretell, our brand new mechanic that ties to the new Divine.
Excuse me, hang on. You can foretell 4 and add any number of Nebuleo, Leo Bright, Celestleo, and or First Light foretold this way to your hand. Am I crazy, or is this the best card ever printed? What? I don't know what the remaining cards do, I will say. I think I know what First Light is. I think we saw that in a previous video, but it was blurry, and I think I saw what it did. I think it helps you add Solar Elestrals to your hand. But this allows you to look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you get to add any of those cards to your hand? That seems insane. And it's a beater? This is common? What? Hang on real quick. What? Let's keep going.
Cards of your deck, reveal them to your opponent, and then do an action. In this case, Nebuleo looks at 4 cards and then adds 4 different cards to your hand. This is really, really good, and it's going to allow it to send very quickly into Leo Bright, Celestleo, and of course use First Light to set up those plays. Let's talk about Leo Bright.
Oh, and interesting. So Leo Bright is actually going to be the next form of Leo Knight, and then Celestleo is a 3 cost. I'm assuming Celestleo is going to be a 3 cost. So let's see.
Leo Bright is a 7 attacker with 5 defense that also can foretell 4 spirits. You may special ascend this Leo Bright to a Celestleo foretold this way. That means...
Okay, the only issue I'm seeing with this currently, it's not an easy card to get out. You do need to get it out, is the issue, and it's not a guarantee that you're going to hit it. Granted, we have seen cards in the past. I forgot what card I'm thinking of in this way, but it allows you to place cards from your deck on the top of the deck. Oh, wait, no, I think that's First Light. I think First Light is the one. Let's see.
Your Nebuleo to get your Leo Bright, and you stack your deck properly with First Light. Well, guess what?
Well, there you go. First Light. Search your deck for a Solar Elestral and put it on top of your deck. Yeah, there you go. So if you go First Light, So yeah, you can set this up. Never mind. So it's basically going to be guaranteed. Getting the Leo Bright out into your side of the field is going to be the hard part. But let's see.
What? You get to go right.
Let's see what Celestleo goes.
Let's talk about Celestleo next.
Let's see what it is.
I mentioned Celestleo, one of the most powerful.
1310. Ooh, it can square up with a Volt Tempest.
Elestrals of all time, and has been our mascot for the Elestrals tournaments. This is a 3 solar drop, 13 attack, 10 defense.
I will say so far, I'm really liking this deck. This might be my solar deck. Let's see though. Let's see what it does.
This thing is a monster. You can foretell 4 and add each solar Elestral foretold this way to your hand.
Oh my god.
So you top 4, you show them to your opponent. Any of those solar Elestrals go straight to your hand, and then you destroy cards in the field up to the number of cards.
Oh my god.
If you foretell 4 and grab 4 solar Elestrals, you are legitimately destroying pretty much your opponent's entire board. I can't imagine they have more than 4 cards.
Okay.
Celestleo is going to be absolutely bonkers.
I really like this card. I really like this deck, I will say. This deck is really cool. However, do want to point out, unlike some of the top dog 3-cost Elestrals, Volt Tempest is up there as one of them. And even some of the lower cost Elestral, like 2-cost Elestrals, like Waspivy has this, Shiveror has this. In their card effect, they have built-in protection. This does not. This has one effect: foretell 4, add Solar Elestrals to your hand, and destroy cards. Granted, I will say, this card is essentially immune to a lot of cards that could potentially deal with it just by virtue of it being a 13/10. Tsunami means nothing to this card. This has 10 defense. What are you going to do? What on earth are you going to do with a Tsunami and attack over a 10 defender? You're not doing it. This card does not care about Tsunami. Like, yeah, you can have another turn. That's fine. Gorgon's Gaze, that does hurt it. It does definitely hurt it. But it stays on the field with the Gorgon's Gaze, and then you have a 13 attacker to help you out. Shield is the one I'm really worried about. The difference between a Shield and a PTA, both of them are kind of the same, but I feel like Shield is the one that I'm most concerned about, because with PTA, it doesn't deal with it immediately. It deals with it during the end phase. So I don't think you care about PTA realistically with this card. And there might be some other counter runes that I'm not really remembering. Obviously, we do have like some new ones coming out, but those are like the big 4. Chains of Prometheus obviously does nothing. That's like the 5th one now, but I don't think PTA is going to be good against this guy, because not only do you have to pay 4 in order to destroy it, you have to hope that you can pay 4 during the end phase, because PTA is going to cost you 1 to target this guy. He goes down to 11 attack. If he attacks you directly, you take 3, and then you're spending an additional 3 just to deal with it. That's 7 spirits total just to deal with this thing. Shield of Achilles is 4 spirits, and it returns it to the hand, which is not where you want this card. You do not want this card in your hand at all. And the really cool thing I actually think is that the first Ascension line of it, I've already forgotten the name of it. Not Kinleo, the freaking the Leo, the 1-cost Leo. I've already forgotten the name. I'm so bad at this, guys. I'm so bad at this. But that can add Celestials, but it doesn't have to. So if you hit a Celestial, you probably don't even want to add it to your hand. I probably will play this deck just because I think it's interesting. However, I do also want to point out, those are counter runes. Shield of Achilles is the one counter rune I'm afraid of. That being said, if you do, if your opponent does have a Shield of Achilles, this card can pop it. So that's honestly not that big of an issue. I'm thinking through like all the counter runes. This card might not care about any of the counter runes. Now, addressing the elephant in the room, again, no protection. If this is the only Elestral in your field, rested in your laurels is going to wreck your day. An EQ for any of the Earth decks that are still being played. Earth Beatdown did top twice at the last tournament, so people are still playing EQ. That also wrecks your day. It's the removal spells that are going to wreck your day with this strategy. But at the same time, I honestly don't hate this. This card honestly does seem very, very strong for a bunch of different reasons. And just to talk about its no protection thing, because I was trying to justify this to myself as to why I wouldn't have protection. First of all, you can't fit protection into the card effect, so there's that. But I do also want to point out, you don't necessarily need this card to have protection. You don't. It's a card that hits the field, adds a bunch of cards to your hand, and then destroys a bunch of cards in your opponent's field. And then maybe hits for big damage. That's basically all you really need it for. If it gets destroyed during your next turn, honestly, I feel like you're fine. That doesn't really matter all that much, I would imagine. So I honestly don't think this is that bad. Your opponent, if in order to deal with it with counter runes, is going to need to expend a lot of spirits in order to do it without the PTA or Shield of Achilles, because Gorgon's Gaze and Tsunami are only delaying the inevitable. Granted, if you go Tsunami into like an EQ, there is that, but that's just sort of the way that the game is played. But yeah, I think this card is kind of crazy. Yeah, no, I think this card will see a little bit of play. I don't think it's going to be a very meta-defining deck. I think it probably will have the occasional top, but I don't think this is going to be like the solar deck. I think probably currently Chronodile is a better card than this. The Chronodile strategy, I should say, is a better strategy than the Celestleo, but I feel like Celestleo's ceiling is much higher than Chronodile. I think Chronodile has more potential to, like, I think it's less likely that Chronodile flops than Celestleo flops, but if neither deck flops, I think Celestleo will probably be the better deck, just because it has access to better beaters, in my opinion. I think this card's sick, and I've been rambling for a little bit. Let's just continue on with the video.
With Foretell, it's going to be incredible being able to grab the cards you need and stack your hand up with powerful Elestrals, and it's really easy to get into given the Nexus potential and the spirits on the field, the fact that it's very easy to get from your deck anytime you want with an incredible...
Another thing to note, the foretelling effect does not require you to does not cost you any spirits, but there is that.
First Light. Now, I did
First Light we did show
on a live stream using a Chronodile starter deck, which was actually really cool. In our weekly tournaments, by the way, so
not bad.
Night, we've got our weekly webcam tournaments, and actually,
I forgot. Yeah, there's a webcam tournament. By the way, this reminded me. This has nothing to do with any cards, but I got 2 more booster boxes in the mail yesterday, and I pulled some good cards. I now have a play set of Lavalith. I'm super happy about that. I have a play set of foil Chains of Prometheus. And somehow, some way, in those 2 booster boxes, I had these are my third and fourth booster boxes I've gotten through. No, they are my second and third booster boxes I've gotten through Frostfall. But in all the packs that I've opened, from starter decks, blister packs, the booster box that I got, I had never once pulled a single copy of Enfrostix. In these 2 booster boxes I got yesterday, I kid you not, I pulled 6 Enfrostix. But the reason I'm bringing this up, I also got reminded of another card that I pulled. I am also proud owner of misprinted Stellar Imperawatt. I find it very funny. I pulled number 2. I'm not playing it because Imperawatt is not a good strategy. But yes, I did in fact pull Stellar Imperawatt. Again, it's an error. It's not an actual Stellar. It's a misprint, but I did in fact pull that. I was kind of hype about it, but there's that. So let's just continue on with the video. Ignore that. I just thought that was fun.
Events. They're a ton of fun. I bring cards that aren't revealed, and we just have a ton of fun. First Light was revealed. Search your deck for a Solar Elestral and put it on the top of your deck. So you search, you grab your Celestial.
Oh, also, I do want to point out, I will not be watching the live streams in which he plays the new decks. I specifically did not watch the casual tournament last week because I did not want to have a reveal, quote unquote, spoiled for me. I want to use this series to react to every single card naturally. So I will not actually be watching that live stream because I don't want any new cards to get revealed. So for that reason, if there is a card that he plays in that video that's not released and hasn't been revealed, and it doesn't get revealed for like a week from now, please do not tell me what it is in the comments. I want all my reactions to be genuine in these videos. So please do not tell me anything that he plays in those live streams because I will not be watching them.
Or Chronodile, or
but let's just continue.
Shuffle your deck, and then you put the card that you grabbed on the top of your deck. It's a 1-cost Invoke Rune Solar. This provides just such incredible consistency.
No, yeah, this card's insane. This card is very, very good.
It's not just 1-cost Elestrals. You can search 2- and 3-cost Solar Elestrals.
This straight up allows you to basically stack your deck and then foretell, and then you just foretell it and you're off to the races. It's very, very good.
That you need. First Light just enables so many
very good card.
Solar element, and it's a really key card to look for in Daybreak. And last but certainly not least, one of the most adorable Elestrals so far, that is Plucky. Plucky is another Elestral that I showed off in that webcam tournament.
All right.
And it is a one attacker.
That is true. That is adorable. It's also kind of, I don't know what it is about it. It has sort of a look on its face that makes me not want to trust it. I don't know what it is. There's something about that look.
For defense, and it's basically Elechick but solar form. When you normally
okay.
search your deck for a divine
that's
rune,
totally fine.
Add it to your hand. I know that you might think, oh well, this is just does what Elechick does, but having it in the solar element opens up a ton of possibilities.
That is totally fine. Well. I will say I am perfectly fine with cards having the exact same effect. As long as they are a different element. We've seen it already with stuff like Drotagwa, Catarant, Nemisail, stuff like that. That when they receive a spirit of their element, you regain 2 of that spirit from your underworld. I really like that because it provides you with an interesting deck building opportunity. If you are playing Solar, you can instead play Plucky instead of Elechick. But if you really, really want to get to that Divine Rune, you can play 3 copies of each of them to play 6 Searchers for your Divine Rune. So that allows for a lot of different deck building opportunities. And I think that could potentially be really, really cool in the future. So I really, really like cards like this. If we do too much, it gets a little, if you do this too often, it gets a little undersatisfying because it kind of feels like every single element is the same. But so far, that hasn't been the case. He's done a really good job at not keeping the same effects. So I think that's really, really good. Let's see. I think this might be the last one.
But I could run Plucky in it in First Light and get that reliability to search my Poseidon without having to use Thunder Elestrals, right? I'm able to kind of consolidate some of those spirits. So Plucky is going to be really crucial in being able to get your Apollo, being able to set up for things like Soul Bells, Soul Stocks, and just having the obviously mechanic enabled across the board.
Yeah, no, this
being
is
able to
insane.
Search out your Divine Rune on a Solar Elestral, and again, it's searchable by Exaltus, so that's pretty cool too.
That's true, Exaltus.
Nebuleo, Leo Bright, Celestleo, First Light. What a day of reveals.
Yeah, just talking about all these cards. All these cards are insane. Every single one of these cards is crazy. The only one that could potentially not be very good is Leo Bright. But Nebuleo, I am still looking at Nebuleo, and I am being like, this might be the best card ever printed. It's a beater. You foretell 4. You can add 4 cards to your hand. Like, it's insane. That is just actually unbelievable. And if it stays in the field, you can do it again on your next turn. It's insane. The Nebuleo is such an amazing card. That alone makes me want to play this deck. It is insane. Unbelievable card. But I believe that's it. Let's see if there's anything else. There's only 12 seconds. I assume there's not, but we'll see.
Have some fun and get excited for tomorrow's reveals as we count down every day until July 12th. Pre-orders open for Daybreak. Get ready.
Yeah, so that's it. Already kind of talked about it. I guess we'll just go over it again. Nebuleo, this card to me seems broken. We obviously talked about Leo Bright. This is sort of the middleman. A lot of the times with these 3 cost ascension lines that are like you go from 1 to 2 to 3 relatively easily. The 2 cost is always kind of the issue. If the 2 cost gets interrupted, that could potentially lead to a lot of problems. And that was the case in base set, and why a lot of 3 cost Elestrals were not played was because the 2 cost Elestrals were so vulnerable. Obviously with Pantera, if that Twindra gets interrupted, if your opponent, it just allows you to basically hit with Hydrake, and then your opponent's like, and then they cast out their Twindra, and you attack with the Twindra to try to crash it, and you just go Shield of Achilles. If that gets bounced back to hand, that is worst case scenario, because you can no longer just go ahead and normal cast that Twindra next turn like you can with Hydrake. It just bounces it back to your hand, and it's stuck in your hand. You can't really do anything. So that alone basically shut down Pantera and prevented it from being a really, really good deck. Voltempest as well. If you go from Elechick, not so much. You don't really need to go from Elechick into Griff use, but if that Griff use gets negated or interrupted in any way, shape, or form, and you are not able to get the Volt Tempest onto your side of the field as a result, you are in a very, very tough spot, because that Griff use is likely not sticking around for another turn. So you have to really really hope. And we already talked about it with the Sandile Chronodial deck. That middle ascension, which again I'm already afraid the name of because I'm really bad at this. That's the same thing. That card needs to stay on the field for one turn. If it ever gets taken off the field, it's done. We've seen this exact same thing with Sirikun. You go Nimbug the Sirikun very, very fast, but if that Sirikun ever gets destroyed on that during your opponent's first turn, you are not getting the Stratomoth. And that's easier said than done, despite the fact that it's a 6 defender. This is the same way with Leo Bright. It is the same way. They can just simply go Gorgon's Gaze to prevent you from foretelling. And then, because if you, the thing about this, if you go First Light into Leo Bright, if you go First Light, normal cast your Leo Bright, and then activate the effect of Foretell, and you placed on the top of your deck a Celestleo, if your opponent has Gorgon's Gaze, they activate it, they negate the Foretell. At the start of your next turn, the top card of your deck is a Celestleo. You no longer are able to Foretell to hit a Celestleo guaranteed. It's the same thing. The middle ascension is the problem. Now, granted, you don't need to special ascend into Celestleo. If your opponent is able, if your opponent is not able to deal with the Leo Bright, you can normal cast the Celestleo on your next turn. But you obviously don't want to use your normal cast on a Celestleo. You want to use it on anything but a Celestleo. You want to special ascend into Celestleo. But that is a definite problem. And if you are playing against, say, a Thunder Nexus deck, and you don't have your hand trap available to you in order to deal with their Spark Gate, they could potentially rip that Celestleo out of your hand if you aren't able to foretell into it fast enough. There's a lot of issues with this strategy that could go wrong, but that makes it fair, and I think that's really good. It's always that middle ascension. If that middle ascension gets interrupted in some way, shape, or form, you are in a tough situation. But I think that's going to be it. We've already kind of talked about all the other cards. I went on a whole tangent about Celestleo. This video is going to be way too long. First Light we talked about, and then obviously we talked about Plucky already. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you slap the like button and subscribe for more. Hope to see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.